Kings tickets today at Ticketek.
Oh, yeah, welcome. Second edition of the crossover. That's SEN and the Sydney Kings. Now, last week it was Chris Pongrass, the CEO, and very refined, on the ball, straight to the point. Today we have the majority owner, chairman, and also described as Uncle Paul.
Uncle Paul.
Paul Smith.
Cousin Jimmy.
Yeah. Welcome, buddy.
It's good to be here, mate. You know, like I like to provide contrast in life. So Chris is very much an intelligence contrast to me. So, well, I'll see what I can do. If I can string a couple of things together for you today, we'll see what can happen.
You know, I reckon you'll get through.
I think I'll be all right.
I reckon you'll get through.
And it's good to be in the studio. It's palatial. It's magnificent. Every time I go a bit off piste, you cut me off. You say the phone went dead, and here I am. You can't do it to me today unless Coach K cuts me.
He's going to wrestle you to the ground if you say anything too controversial. And just in defence of our studios, small but really comfy, and there's new ones being built as we speak.
They're opposite to me, small and comfy. I'm neither of those things.
All right, mate, how's it going? We talked about it there, back to back. So the expectations are high. How are they trending for NBL 24?
They're good. They're good. It's every year is different. You know, every year is different.
Yep.
It's last year was a different challenge. Obviously, we lost our 3 imports.
Yep.
But of course, we had sort of that stability with Zave and DJ Vasiljevic sticking around with us. And then this year's been another big shift, obviously with a new coach and a whole new starting 5, so to speak. So there, it's good, and we're working through it. You know, we're in the blitz right now. We've had a couple of losses, but you know, we're using it as we're using it as a crash test dummy sort of thing. See what shakes out, what goes on. Coaches taking a lot of learnings out of it, a lot of positives, and you know, we'll be there or thereabouts. But you know, I think the important thing, Jimmy, is that what sits at the heartbeat of our club is the bench. And our bench, we play deep. We've got great roster back there, and a lot of experience in winning championships with guys like Sean Bruce and Angus Glover, you know, Quatnoy, and of course, you know, Jalen Galloway is going to have a big year. So we feel really good about it. Obviously, when we get DJ Hogue back on court and him rolling, but we're all set. And next Friday, next Saturday, I think it is next Saturday night, the Illawarra Hawks. We take on the scumbags down south.
Oh, here we go. Didn't take long, Hawks fans.
Oh, look, I was up at the Blitz this week. I saw the Illawarra Hawks guys. I said, when are you going to start the sledging? When does the flag drop? And what I heard last week, and I just want to let the public know that Matt Campbell, whom everyone thinks is a good bloke, is actually a bit of a grub. And he was sledging the Sydney Kings on SEN Illawarra.
Was he?
Yeah. Stuff like we're injury prone, we're soft, we've got an underbelly. We're hopeless. This is the year. The Hawks are going to roll over the top of us. So I just wanted on public record. I've heard that because I hear everything. I see everything. I know everything. And so in that regard, we've got his cards marked. Soup Campbell, look out, we're coming south. And I'm bringing some heat this year. The word on the street is that potentially our current number 1 ticket holder, the former Premier of New South Wales, Mr. Dominic Perrottet, may be joining me for the road trip as well.
Wow. He's not a bad basketballer in his own right. He was the only one holding us up in that celebrity game when Carfino didn't give me enough game time.
It wasn't your wig, was it?
It was the Irish jig. Jackie Moon. The Dapto Dasher would have Soupy Campbell covered, no problem. Angus Glover as well. I want to go back to your coach. We had the great privilege of speaking with him live from Houston a couple of months ago. Mahmoud Abdul Fader. And he's just a ball of energy, all of it positive. Disappointing, obviously, with those couple of losses in the blitz. But how's he fitted into the Kings?
Look, it's how we fit into him,
right?
And I think that's the important thing. He's got a way of doing things, the way he wants to run the locker room, the way he wants to run the operations, and run the systems and processes with all the staff. And he's gone about that. So it's really our responsibility to wrap around his needs and support him in what he's doing. And I think everyone's clear. It's very black and white with him. The players know where they stand. The staff will know where they stand. They know what he wants. And so our job is to bring that for him, and that's coming together really nicely.
I made mention of it last week to Chris, and he wasn't fully agreeing with me, but you might see it differently. And I see it this way, that there's been a growth story around the NBL, and a lot of that you could attribute to two big teams, but in the biggest market is the Sydney Kings, and how important that is. And the thought of selling out Kudos Bank Arena was miles away 18 months ago.
Never in my vision.
Right, it's happened. Right, so the growth of it's almost like they talk about rugby league strong when insert team here, South Sydney, Newcastle. It's almost it's that story for the Kings. So that comes with a bit of pressure, Paul. But do you feel that story as well?
Pressure's for tyres, Timmy.
Right. Okay.
And so I'm not a tyre. So,
right.
So
it's all relative too.
No,
right?
we embrace it, mate. Look, we're pretty out there, and we hold ourselves out there, and we say what we want to say, and we mean what we say, and we're not ashamed to sort of call it out that we've got to grow this game.
Yep.
We've got to grow the sport in Sydney. Sydney's a winner's town.
Yeah.
And Melbourne people don't get that, and Sydney really is a town where they rally around winners, and that comes with its own sort of pressure and an expectation. But you got to carry yourself like that, and so we embrace that. I personally embrace it. I think that basketball itself's in a unbelievable position where you've got at the base you've got grassroots sport. At the basketball is just growing exponentially.
Yep.
Media this week where they're talking about people crying their kids can't get games, they can't get access to courts. There's a massive need to grow the facilities for basketball in Sydney, particularly. But equally at the top of the pyramid, you've got the NBA, just growing so rapidly and penetrating the market at many levels.
Yeah.
And we sit in the midst of all that.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's a really powerful position. And the job now we've got to do is not drop the ball. It's not about continuing to win. You can't win championships every year. We want to, and everyone tries to. And we go out there with the objective of doing so. But the reality is that we can't go backwards. And that works at multiple levels. It's on court, it's off court. It's how we embrace in the corporate market, how we embrace in the media market, and the great work that SEN does as an example where, we're really happy to be involved with you guys, and as we are with all the media in Sydney.
Tommy Garlop is grassroots. He's Sydney Kings legend, but grassroots as well. He talks often about the lack of facilities and if people. So whose responsibility is that? Is that government, local, state and federal? Where does the Kings come in? Where does Hoops Capital come in on that?
Look, we're part of the equation. We're not stepping away from it, but the efforts that we make are associated with expansion through facilities such as what we're building, we will be building on the back of a wonderful grant from the New South Wales Government and Cumberland City Council for a facility at Auburn, a 2-court facility, which will be a high-performance centre, but usable by the public and for programming as well, obviously. Then there is a role for government, definitely, but I also think there's got to be some creativity thought about this, about how the growth of the game at a facility level can be achieved with working with property developers, redundant facilities like potentially shopping centres or shopping malls or areas of shopping malls. The Bunnings is for sale in Wollongong. That could be that. Cairns Taipans played in a Bunnings for a couple of years while their facility was being upgraded at the Cairns Convention Centre. So I think it's about thinking around it and thinking not just does it have to be a classical facility? Can it be multi-purpose or multi-use? And that's the key.
Hutchie's in the house, right? For those people who are listening now, Hutchie's our boss here at SEN. He's also majority owner of Perth Wildcats, right? How you go? There's a bit of history there. Is there a bit of
history? No. There's no history. The only history is since Hutchie's been involved and I've been involved, I've won 2 championships and he's won nothing. His mob couldn't even make the playoffs one year, and that last year they made the play-ins.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know how that counts.
Yeah, that's the wild card, right? So here we go. We're in. No, we're in.
They sit over there in Perth.
Right.
Look, Perth should be renamed Waco. It really is the Waco of Australia. It's a whole cult over there, and so look, they're great. We love them. We love the Wildcats.
Right.
But we love spanking them hard too.
Right.
That's good.
Are you suggesting that Craig Hutchison is the David Koresh of the Perth Wildcats?
No, I'm suggesting he's not a cult leader. Definitely, he's not leading that cult from what I read. But, we've being the Sydney Kings and doing what we do. It seems to be that everyone hates us, and you know what? We like that. We embrace that.
You embrace that.
I embrace it.
Does the whole organisation embrace it, or do they say, "Oh, what's Paul said now"?
Oh, look, once in a while I get a bit of blowback, but generally speaking, the hate is good. don't be neutral about us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Either lovers or haters. And I'll tell you something. I had a real theory on this, Jimmy. Everyone secretly loves the purple. They secretly love it, but they
Right.
don't want to say it.
Okay.
I think we're a bit of a second team, and we actually saw on that point. I was made aware of some research. I haven't read it myself. Made of some market research that someone was telling me about, where what is apparent with regards to basketball is that within the Sydney market, that Sydney Kings is by far and away sports fans' second team. They're number one. They might be number one fandom is NRL. They might support the Dragons or the West Tigers. How are they going, the West Tigers? Unbelievable. What a performance they're putting on. But I guess the point is that there's a lot of affinity and a lot of love for the Sydney Kings in Sydney, and that's what matters. People in Melbourne don't go and buy tickets to my games.
Yeah.
I don't care what they say.
Yeah.
I want them to go to Melbourne United games and boo us.
Yeah.
And we love that as well.
Anthony Mundine has made more money from boxing in this country than any other person in history, and half the time people were buying it to see him knocked out.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. They want to see us get beat.
Yeah.
I know they do, and that's cool. And this is the theatre of it all.
Yeah.
You know, this is winding it all up. You know, it is what it is. You know, you can't. This is in Sydney. There are 23 professional sporting teams.
Wow.
All fighting for the corporate market. You go to New York. You've got 2 baseball teams, 2 basketball teams, and 2 football teams.
Yeah.
And 3 ice hockey teams. That's it. In the whole of the tri-state area.
Yeah.
Here in Sydney, there's 23 teams fighting. And, you know, we walk in one door and another team walks out the other, having spoken to the same sponsor. So you can't be small in this town. You've got to be big. And, you know, that's the one thing I say to our players, Jimmy, you know, for all the other rhetoric that goes on, there's only one thing I solemnly ask them is you turn up and you walk tall.
Yeah.
You're a Sydney King. You walk tall, but you turn up. You don't flake it out. If we lose going down hard. We don't lose. We don't get rolled over the top of.
I think Peter Garrett said it right. Die on your feet rather than live on your knees.
You know, the old Violet crumbles. You know what we are now? We're the Violet rumbles.
Oh, yeah, we like that. Hey, we've got to get to a break. You're listening to The Crossover. Paul Smith, the Sydney Kings majority owner and chairman. Now he is in the house. Oh, yeah, welcome back to the program. Paul Smith, Sydney Kings majority owner and the chairman is in the house. Mate, we've got some text messages here. You right to answer those? Yeah. Press that button.
On there.
There we go. That's
there
it.
We go. Got it.
Perfect.
Go
Perfect.
Hey,
Jimmy.
Don't mention any complaints, right? Just good stuff. Thanks.
Oh, no, can't read that one. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Hey, Jimmy, got my Kings membership again this year. Once again, a thing I would love to see if possible, players give a little more time to fans after the game. I feel sometimes they go inside way too quick. Just my view, but cannot wait for the season to start. Juan the Eagle.
Fair enough, Juan. That's a good point. We hear you. We listen. We'll take that on board. Thank you. And thanks for your support and your membership. We appreciate it, mate.
Hey, Unky Paul, after the Dragons saga, do you hate them or are you still a fan? That's from the Pearl, who is a Dragons fan.
Look, hate's a strong word. No,
Yeah.
I don't hate them. It's you know, I'm more abstain than
Right,
anything. I'm
right.
sort of more neutral about it. But as much as I've sort of contemplated adopting another team, I can't. So I sort of take a passing interest in things. Right now, I'm all about the Warriors.
Of course.
But I'm not bandwagoning. I've been on that bus for a while. But
How long? 3 or 4 weeks?
Oh, yeah, 2 weeks. No, I said a few weeks ago, I tweeted to my 11 followers that that I'm tipping a Warriors Melbourne grand final.
Warriors Melbourne. Wow.
Mm.
2 outsiders going against the market. That's
3-peats are hard.
Yeah.
So they tell me.
Yeah. Do you look to other sports? Have you looked at other sports and the way they've done that? It is very rare to do.
Rare. I had a good chat with talking to Luke Longley last week. I'm not name dropping, but he's a good mate of mine, everyone. And we were chatting. Me and Luke were chatting.
Yes.
No, we're talking about 3. I said 3. My theory is in a 3-peat, the second one's the hardest. Right. That's my theory because, and this is not related to basketball or the Kings. Generally, I think getting over that hump, because when you think about it, it's pretty rare to win 2.
Yeah.
3 is definitely challenging, but it's not like teams win 1 and win again. It's not that common in most sports.
Yep.
So back-to-back's hard, but I think it's Luke's view is that this fatigue bit wraps up, it gets challenging. But I think the fact that we've refreshed our squad because we've been forced to through losing players to the NBA and so on and so forth, and then a new coach, I think it's a natural refresh. So I think we're there, but it's winning habits. It's all about winning habits and knowing how to win. And I think that's something we carry into this season.
Yeah, with a brand new squad, which we can't get to. That's it. We're done for time.
That's it?
Yeah. Are you prepared to whack anyone else just before we go?
No, I think I've got everyone today.
Yeah, I don't think there's too many that you've missed.
I got Illawarra, Hutchie, Melbourne United, West Tigers, gave St George a bit of a spray.
Yeah.
I think that's about it today. I just want to feel the love because we've got the season coming up and it's all about the basketball gods.
SydneyKings.com, peeps. We'll get to a break and then we're back to wrap up the program.